Hello, I'm Sarah McDonald and my guest today is Professor David Dixon, who's the Dean of Law at UNSW. And we're here to talk about the new law curriculum that comes into being next year. Hello, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Why do we need a new law curriculum at UNSW?
Well, we've been responding to two major sources of advice that we've had. One is by looking to see what's been happening at the top American law schools, and we've spent a lot of time looking at the debates in the United States about how legal education needs to change. And we've been consulting our stakeholders, the people who employ our students, and also our students about what they want. And coming together, there's been a consensus of opinion that the law curriculum needs to change in a couple of major ways, which are firstly towards teaching students more about how law works in practice, and secondly looking more at law on the international stage.
And you'll actually be combining those and offering students placements and internships overseas in international bodies.
That's right. So some of the most exciting aspects of the new curriculum are the opportunities for students to go to study overseas in internships and international clinical opportunities where they will be involved in handling real cases. One example is the Hong Kong Refugee Clinic, which our students will go to. Another is a clinic in Johannesburg, a human rights clinic in which students will be involved. But more generally, students have got opportunities to go on internships all over the world. Already our students are taking part in many activities of that kind.
But this will broaden out. How will students pay for this though? Because I'm assuming they won't get paid on the internship.
So the major fundraising activity which the law school is involved in this year is to raise money for scholarships to help students to travel. We've got a scholarship which is named after one of our own students, Louise Brown, who died while she was on an internship in Paris. And this has become a major source of activity in the law school, and we're looking to raise funds to help students to go to travel.
UNSW is a very an international focused university, and you have lots of international students, but what about those students who don't speak another language? Will there be language offerings alongside their law degree?
Yes, one of the major lessons which I picked up from talking to stakeholders, particularly employers in the big law firms, is that an ability to speak a second language is a major strength. We're very lucky at UNSW in that many of our students come, traditionally our student base has been the families of migrant families, second, third generation. So many people have already got some ability to speak a language other than English, and we're helping them to bring their language skills up to a professional legal level through a diploma in languages. Students who don't have a second language will also be able to go into the diploma at entry level. And this will be particularly important for students who will go on to work in the Chinese legal market, which is going to be such a major opportunity for Australia in the future.
So Professor Dixon, is that what the university is also recognising, that the opportunities for graduates are in other countries to Australia?
Very much. I mean, the legal market has changed from the time that I did my degree, which was that the expectation is that you would be working probably in one job in one local jurisdiction for your career. The kind of students that we're now graduating are people who are likely to do a number of different jobs through their careers, and many of them, not all of them, but many of them will be working overseas, or they will be working in firms here which have got international businesses.
A lot of the universities now say they're internationally focused and they're after the new law. What sets your uni apart from others in this degree?
Well, what happens at most other universities is that there are little bits and pieces which are done. A couple of internships or a couple of overseas opportunities. What's different here is that we've taken the degree apart in a long process of our curriculum review and put it back together in a way which is the biggest change in Australian legal education since UNSW started its law school in 1971, that we broke the mould of legal education then, and we're doing it again now. Other universities offer things like internships, clinical opportunities as a minor part, as really an add-on, an optional extra. What's different here is that this is not an add-on, it's the structure. it's the chassis, if you like, as opposed to the mag wheels on the side. So all our students are going to have opportunities to take part in clinical opportunities here, to go overseas on internships, to go on the summer schools. We're offering summer schools, for example, in Beijing, Shanghai, Vanuatu, Prato in Italy, Hanoi, and a wonderful one which has just concluded. 36 of our students have just come back from a human rights summer school at Columbia University in New York City. So the point is that these are mass programs. They're not just for one or two people who want to do something different.
And what about in terms of that, the doctrinal ability? How do you keep that while having a student who's so at home practicing already before they graduate?
Our belief is that strong, what lawyers call black letter skills, are absolutely vital, and they are the basis for what our students will do. This is not an alternative to strong doctrinal teaching. It's a better way of doing it, we feel, so that our students will get the very strong doctrinal teaching in the classroom, but then they will have the opportunity to learn how doctrine really works in practice by getting out there and being involved in clinics and internships in summer schools and so on.
And what about the role of research at UNSW?
UNSW is a top research-intensive law school, member of the GOA, and that sets it apart from some other universities which have tried to do some of the kind of things that we're talking about, in that the people who are teaching our students are not just teachers, they're also researchers. They're the people who write the books, who write the articles which the students are using. And all of our students have opportunities to be involved in research activities on the way through, that we teach them how to do research. In fact, you asked before about what the new lawyer looks like. One of the key things which came out of our discussions with employers was that lawyers need to have very, very good research skills. And that is, again, a part of the new curriculum, is structuring the teaching of research skills through the degree.
And what about the basis of the approach to law, the ethics behind it? I understand that'll be a large part of the course as well.
Absolutely. Maybe just explain a little more generally that the traditional curriculum is divided into subjects of contract law, criminal law, and so on. Ours will be done in the same way, but it will also be divided across another axis of a series of themes, of skills, of values, and aspects of justice. And the ethics the ethical theme will be one which is traced through all the courses that the students do. We're very much reacting to the need to produce lawyers who've got very high ethical values, who are committed to the idea of law as a service profession, not just simply a way of earning money. Law is a profession which has got very strong commitments to principles of justice and the rule of law, and that we produce graduates who understand how those relate to their work.
So given that, what sort of school leaver would you be liking to attract to this new curriculum next year?
We're looking for people who are looking forward, people who have got ideas about how they would want to make a difference in the world and look to law as being one of the tools which they can use to do that. Not everybody, when they're coming out of school, is determined to be a lawyer. I think that's a very good thing, and because many of our graduates will go on to use the legal skills which we teach them outside the law. So the fact that they don't necessarily want to be, have decided they're going to be a lawyer, that's fine. It's people who see the potential for using law.
And where do you see those potentials? Where else could you use a law degree from this university in other professions?
Well, our graduates work in all kinds of areas. Many of them go to work in the commercial field, in commerce. Many work in the public sector, in government. We have politicians who are our graduates. Many of them work in NGOs, in NGOs around the world, who are doing particularly human rights work. And in all of those, you're using the kind of legal skills that we're talking about. But also, our graduates go on to do all kinds of other things. They're journalists, they're artists, they're filmmakers like Emil Sherman, they're authors like people like Matthew Riley. They do all kinds of things.
Well, it sounds like a really interesting degree and a lot of fun as well along the way, I would think.
Well, it'd be a lot more fun the kind of degree that I did, which was 3 years of sitting in a lecture theatre. The new graduate from UNSW will have had a completely different experience from the old days. And perhaps I could just give you an example to give some flesh to the bones of a recent graduate's her last experiences at law school. The last 5 courses that she took, that these were all for course credit, were editing our law journal, working on internships in human rights organisations in Southeast Asia, being part of an international moot team which went to the finals of a competition in Vienna, going on exchange to Mannheim in Germany, and doing an internship at the International Court of Arbitration in The Hague. So the last 5 courses that she took, all for course credit, none of them were taken in a classroom. And going back to the point about doctrinal ability, she graduated with the University Medal and has gone on to a high-level post in an arbitration practice in New York City.
All right, well, look, all the best with the new curriculum. Begins next year. And thanks so much for talking to us today.